I'ma tell you like somebody told me. The street show, that's the place to be. Welcome to the street show. We gon' keep it real at the street show, yeah. Welcome to the street show. It's something like a party at the street show. We got interviews on deck, the latest news on deck, Kaye TheTruth on deck, DJs on deck, in the orders on deck, new music on deck. Tell everybody tune in and go and download that app.
Tuning into another hot episode of The Street Show powered by Access Unlocked. In studio today, we have the one, the only, we have Ladii Girl. Hey, Ladii Girl, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing well. I'm so glad to be here.
We want to thank you for stopping by.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It's been a while. I'm glad to be back.
Hey, and your music is hotter than ever. Tell us about the new project you just released.
So the new project I just released is titled She Can't, and it's kind of like a rendition, a remake on Jagged Edge's He Can't, but, you know, we have to give it the female spin on it. And, you know, pretty much it's that classic R&B breakup music and, you know, you should have chose me while the grass wasn't greener on the other side type feel.
You know what? I listened to it, and I loved it. I loved it. I think I like it better than the original, but you know, it's the female spin, and you know I'm always a big fan of yours, so you know I definitely loved it, and you definitely killed that joint.
Thank you so much. Like, you know, it was that pandemic. It was coming off of the pandemic, so all of that pent up artistry that I had locked away, you know, because we weren't moving during the pandemic. It was like, okay, let's release something now, and that's kind of what came out.
Right. I wanted to get straight into your music because it's a banger, but I want to go back and tell our audience a little bit about you. Tell us about how you got your start.
Oh, I started, well, I've been doing music all of my life, writing all of my life, church choirs, school choirs, all-state choir type deal, classically trained vocally, and with, you know, I dabble with piano a little bit here and there. I'm not that great on the keys, but, you know, but I started professionally in 2012. And, you know, just doing little venues. I don't think I had ever sung in front of like an audience, only family, you know, the family barbecue. Outside of that, I had never really sung anything in front of people. So, you know, in 2012, I had linked up with an old manager, and they put me in front of people. And people loved what they heard, which kind of shocked me because, you know, when you first come into the game, you don't know, you're not really in tune, or you don't have the confidence on your side because you don't really know what people want. And so, you know, over the time, I just kept on doing it. I kept sticking with it, kept, you know, getting on any stage I could possibly get on, in front of any crowd that I could get in front of, and just letting loose. And, you know, every time I did it, it was always positive feedback. And even the feedback that wasn't, I don't want to say negative, because it was never really negative, but it was criticism. I just took it with a grain of salt, and if I could tweak something, I tweaked it. And so far, we're in 2023, and we started in 2012. We're doing real good right now.
And you're still doing good despite the pandemic. But what was your game plan when you know everything was shutting down to make sure that you stayed relevant during COVID? Well, COVID is still here, but you know, doing the shutdown.
Yeah. Really, I didn't even have a plan. We were about to hit the road and do a tour, and the tour kind of got canceled because of COVID. So it was like a standstill musically for me. I was still kind of in the studio, and then when the studio started closing one by one, so I really couldn't do anything. I would record at home, and, you know, it was no telling how long things were going to be shut down, or if anything was going to open up back up, if they were still going to be in business. So my alternative was I ran for public office. And then running for public office, and, you know, just writing every day, just still writing, still, you know, brainstorming and building concepts and things like that, but not really doing anything musically. So when the band started to get lifted, I said, okay, it's time to get back into the music scene. And by that time, campaigning and stuff, and the election was kind of coming to a close. And so I just hopped right back in like nothing ever happened.
Okay, good deal. So you write a lot of hot music. What is your mindset when you're writing this music?
Oh, excuse me. That can stem from anything. That could come from just, going through beats and listening over and over again, catching a feeling when you hear a beat. A lot of times it's coming from experiences, past experiences, even current experiences, other people's experiences, just talking to like friends and family. Sometimes, I'm the therapist, the therapist without the paperwork behind my name. And so a lot of times those things turn into songs, because once you dump on me, I need a release. So music is my release, and that's how I get it out. And a lot of the situations are relatable, so people tend to kind of like gravitate towards that musically, because always somebody who's going through the similar, kind of situation out there.
So with your new single, She Can't, was that from an experience, or was it something you just felt like writing?
That was somebody else's situation. Honestly, it was somebody else's situation, and I was being the air that they could vent to. But it was like an ongoing thing for like a long time. So it was like, okay, I need to get this off me. And I was like, listening to them, empathizing with them, and kind of seeing things from their perspective. It was just like, I just wish he would just choose me and only me, and not keep going back and forth. And, so that it just really turned into a song.
And who is the producer on the project, She Can't?
So I wrote and produced it fully. We had an engineer, just engineer the track, but arrangements and how I wanted to sound and all those things came from me in the writing.
Okay, good deal. So are you signed to a label?
So yes and no. This is kind of tricky. So it's Buddha Beats Entertainment Music, which I am signed to. They're imprinted by Island Def Jam. But I'm still an independent artist. It works out tricky, but it's beneficial to me. So you get to use the name and the supports that are provided, but you still have kind of full control over creativity and how far you want to push your project, because a lot of artists don't realize you have to push your project, whether you have a label behind you or not. You still have to promote your music. You still have to, make appearances and do your interviews and get your write-ups and your blogs and your publications together. And sometimes that's all you really need is just that, can I stamp your name on this project type thing, because then people will start paying a little bit more attention. But you really still are an independent artist. But the best part is, you get your full creative control, and you get to still reap the benefits of the profits and royalties that you make off of your music.
Okay. Well, when I was thinking about producers, I know you have a hot pop project that's dropping or is in the process of being released, but the producer is Nicholas Black. How did y'all connect, and tell us about your pop project?
Absolutely. Nicholas Black is the man. So he's from my city right here in Worcester. And, people say, just look in your backyard, right? See what's in your backyard. And I happened to run across Nick. Now, we've been friends for years. We follow each other on Facebook, and I've seen other projects that he's done. He's done the Encanto soundtrack. He's written for BB Rexa. He's got a song on the Billboard charts right now with Sail Away. So he's really working. And I reached out to him and was like, hey, what do you do? You know what I mean? I see these things and I see these accolades, but I'm not sure exactly what it is you do. Do you sing? Do you write? Do you produce? And he said, all of the above. And I said, well, I want to work. Let's work. Let's get together and let's work. And we're in the same city. Why not? And he agreed. And so, I let him hear the music that I had out there so he can kind of, get my vibe and where I'm at and where I'm trying to go. And so it started with conversations, and then we kind of just got together. The contracts and everything were in place, and we're working on my first pop song now. We've been working on this track for about 2 months. It's not perfected, and we're not going to put anything out there until it's perfected. But it's coming along good. I like the sound. I think it's something new that people are going to enjoy because it's so different from what I do, but yet it's me, all in the same.
I think
so Nick is great.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Nick is great. The song was intended for Ariana Grande, but I ended up with it.
Oh, that's going to be amazing. You definitely have to come back to the street show so we can hear it and do another interview about your journey doing pop. But, okay, what made you want to transition to pop from R&B?
I kind of want to touch every genre because I want to show people the versatility of being a vocalist. Like, you don't have to just limit yourself and be a one-trick pony and stay in one lane if you don't have to. Sometimes that's all someone can do. It's just what they do. I was fortunate enough to be blessed to be able to cut into any genre. And I kind of want to showcase that. And I want to broaden my audience and broaden my fan base. And I want to try to make something for everyone so that, I'm appealing to everyone. Everyone's enjoying the music. So no matter if you're at a rock concert or you're into EDM or whatever the genre is, I want me to be at least one record in that genre.
I know that's right. Expand, diverse, everything. Build that portfolio.
Absolutely.
So with you being out of Massachusetts, how does your music compare to other artists in the area?
Oh, yeah. I've thought about that. When it comes to the female vocalists here in Massachusetts, we're very little. There's very little female vocalists that I ran across or I heard, at least. So if they're out there, I would like to meet them. I would like to probably collaborate and put some things together, because it's very few. Now, the males, they are dominating. They are all over the place. As far as comparison, it's really hard to compare because we all kind of do the same thing, although our sounds are different. I think the thing that would set me apart mostly would be the fact that I can transition into any genre. Like, it could be a hip-hop show, and I would still fit. It could be a jazz show, and I would fit.
Multi-talented. Okay, we love it. We love it. You know what? When you said you were getting ready for a tour when COVID happened, you also had the opportunity before to grace my Kaye Entertainment Business Conference stage, and we loved you. We can't wait to have you back in Dallas. But I see that you also had the opportunity to do the Fleet conference. How was that for you, Fleet DJs?
Every time I get a chance to go to a conference or a convention or anything where I'm networking, it's always, for me, it's always the best because it expands my network, and that's kind of what I want to do. I want to know everybody everywhere, right? And I didn't get to perform there. That was a downside for me. I was kind of bummed about that, but I was coming off of having surgery. So I had a tumor in my salivary gland, so that had to be removed. That was pressing against my vocal cords. And so we weren't even sure at that time. I felt fine. I felt like I had bounced back. But management and the team, they were kind of making their executive decisions like, no, not yet. We want to make sure you're 100 before you get on any stage, which I understood. It still hurt. It still stung a lot because you see all this talent on the stage and you don't want to be jealous and envious and you're like rooting for them, but you're like, dang, why can't I be on stage too? I want to show the people what I could do. So it was kind of bittersweet. I got to network and meet a lot of DJs from around the world globally, and so that was really, really important and pivotal to do. But I wish I could have had showcased my talents at the same time. But next time. There's always a next time.
They do have, we do. I guess I'm a part of Fleet DJs as well. We do have a conference annually. So this year I would definitely be in North Carolina, and we hope to see you grace the stage, if not this year, next year, but hopefully soon, because everybody deserves to hear your hot sound, because you are definitely hot.
Oh, thank you so much. And yes, I am going to be in North Carolina July 20th to the 24th at the convention.
Yes. So also, you know what I like to do a little bit? We're going to come back to some questions, but I want to get into some different type of questions. I want to put you on what we call at the street show, we call the hot.
It's time for the hot seat.
So you just said that you was doing politics, you was running for office. First of all, what made you decide to run for office before I asked you this question?
Just being home and sitting still and really watching everything that was going on in my city. And then it was around the time of George Floyd as well. And there were some counselors that were doing some things and moving away that I was like, they got to go. And who better to get them out of their seat? So, yeah, there are a lot of factors behind my run.
Well, you know, I'm definitely a community liaison leader, activist, whatever you want to call me. So one of my questions, which we know what just happened in Memphis, Tennessee, with Tyree Nichols, the 29-year-old that were beat by 5 black police officers, and he died. What do you think about police brutality?
I think that every police department across the United States needs reform in a major way, from training to diversity training, to cutting certain departments and managing money, to getting rid of tactical gear, to learning how to de-escalate. Body cams is a huge thing that needs to be done, because without them body cams, we wouldn't have seen anything, right? And who has control of those body cams? There's a lot that I think needs to take place. And, you know, I would almost go as far as saying de-weaponize, but, you know, in certain instances, we do need to have police, good police, those who are not going to abuse their authority. And in some cases, yes, they do need to be armed. But, you know, regular beat cops, they need to get back to community policing, get out of your car, learn the neighborhood and the people who live in it that you're policing.
I agree 1,000% with everything you just said. Now let's get into another political question on the hot seat. Okay, we know Trump had private documents, confidential documents. Then Biden had confidential documents. He had his home. And now Pitt's confidential documents. What do you think about that? That they just happen to have these documents in their garage or home, and they don't know about it. I just find that.
Everybody's claiming they have no idea. Obviously, they got there somehow in your private home. Who goes to your private home but you, right? So you travel from the office with private documents that should have never been in your home, and maybe you didn't realize it. Maybe you took home a folder that had some, you know, private stuff in it that wasn't supposed to leave, you know, the government facility, and it did. Bring it back. When you don't bring it back, that's when you get caught. When they start searching your home and they find these legal documents, you know, that are classified, and you're claiming you don't know how they got there, that's a problem. And it seems to be, it doesn't matter what side of the aisle you're on, you've done it. You've done it. You know, and it makes me go back to the point of people not trusting government. Mainly BIPOC community, maybe our black and brown, mainly our black and brown people do not trust our government. They'll be registered to vote, but they won't vote because they've been lied to so much. You know,
right. And
this shows why.
Right, and everybody, well, I'm not going to say everybody, the most people that I know believe like you're voting to get a president. They think it's already predetermined because it's already rigged, and then you have Trump who tried to rig it, or what he did rig it, whatever you want to call it. So there's something that make you like.
And so, yeah, the thing that I push for most people is to make them realize, yes, the presidential election is important, right?
Right.
But the election that affects you the most is your local government, your municipality, whether you have a town hall, a city hall, you have a mayor, or a city council. That is the most important vote that affects you directly. Because as the money trickles down the pipeline from the federal government to the state to your city, now your city has millions of dollars. They're gentrifying everything, pushing people out to bring more people in who can afford to live, or whatever the case may be, or maybe their focus is bringing more business in. They're still going to push people out so they can build these new businesses, right?
Right.
So if you're not voting in your local election, those people are voting on which way those dollars go that come into that city. And if you're not putting people in there that are like-minded and trying to keep people in their homes and keep the small businesses open and afloat, then you're going to get pushed out. That has nothing to do with the federal government, but everything to do with your local municipality and who you vote and put in them seats, or who you don't vote for. If you don't vote, it gives them the leeway to have their regular voters, their super voters, keep them in those seats.
I agree. So with you being a future leader in your area of Massachusetts, what 3 things would you change in the government?
Oh, yes. So currently I'm conquering housing. That is at the top of my list. So I am conquering housing, and I sit on the board of trustees for the affordable housing. And we have $15 million in ARPA funds that we're allocating to different developers to build affordable housing in our city. So that is my top priority. The second after that is to push for the teachers and the teachers union and paraprofessionals to have fair contracts and better wages, because, education is a must, and we need to have our teachers not overworked and underpaid type of deal, and honored contracts. And, so that is, right there is my second. And then thirdly is our youth. Putting in place more programs and more activities for our youth. Right now, currently in our city, we don't even have a mall. We don't have a movie theater. Anything you want to do here is on the outskirts. You have to have a car to get to it.
That's definitely not cool. But your city is pretty big, right?
Yeah, we're the second largest city in New England, and we don't even have a bowling alley for our kids. We don't have a skating rink. We don't have anything. We have plenty of restaurants. You can eat all you want.
Sometimes I think when kids don't have anything to do, not saying that's the problem, but I think that breeds almost violence or disruptive type of behavior because they don't have an outlet.
Absolutely. And that's why our crime rate is up, with mostly teens out here in these streets shooting or stealing cars. Personal note, I just had my little cousin got into, I don't want to say a high-speed chase because the police claimed they wasn't chasing the car. It was a stolen car, a group of kids. My little big cousin happened to be in the car, and it was a really bad accident. One person lost their life. My cousin lost a leg, and he's a teenager. He's like 14, And if there was something for these kids to do, these things wouldn't happen. But unfortunately, there's nothing. Nothing, not a paintball, nothing that they could do. No laser tag, zero.
And we all need an outlet. So I definitely want to thank you for playing the hot seat with me. So I appreciate you. Great answers to my amazing questions. I had to give myself a pat on the back. No, just kidding. Yes, I definitely want to get back to talking about your single, She Can't. So are you going to drop a video for it? Or are we going to expect that?
So there is a video. It's been featured on several different platforms. So it's featured on Video City TV out of New York. It is also featured on Cali Music Channel out of California, and it's on YouTube and all social media platforms. It can be accessed.
Well, we're definitely going to add your video to our platform too, along with your written write-up. And also, you're welcome. Also, speaking of media, tell us about some of the TV appearances you've had in your career.
Sure. Absolutely. So there's BNN, which is located in Boston. It is the Boston Neighborhood Network. New TV, which is located in Newton, Massachusetts. And they have, like, I think it's Emmys or whatever you get for daytime TV. I'm not good at awards, but I think you got a bunch of daytime Emmys. And the California Music Channel, which is located in California, all throughout the state. And then Video City TV, which is located in New York, and it covers all of the tri-state area as well.
Okay. Well, you say you're not good with awards. You better get used to it, because I see a lot of awards coming your way in the future.
You know what? I think I would be not shocked, but humbled. I'm humble already in where I stand, because I've not won anything yet. I got some social justice warrior stuff, and that's cool. It's always been a thing that I've always wanted to be honored for my music, but I don't even know how I would even take it. I think I would just not be so shy about it.
Like, what? Me?
Yeah.
I hope you get an award soon.
Oh, thank you.
So before we get out of the street show that's powered by Access Unlocked for news and entertainment, shout out your social media and tell the people where they can find you.
Absolutely. You can definitely find me on Facebook at Ladii Girl, LADIIGIRL. You can find me on Instagram at Ladii Girl, LADIIGIRL_508, which is my area code. And it's pretty much that across all platforms like TikTok, Twitter. It's just LADIIGIRL. The easiest way to find me is by Google. Just Google Ladii Girl, LADIIGIRL, and all of those platforms will pop up.
Okay. And your music is already locked and loaded on all platforms as well, correct?
Absolutely. Any store that's out there, I'm in it.
You guys definitely have to listen to Ladii Girl. She can't. But right now, let's go ahead and get into that joint. And Ladii Girl, we want to thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. I miss you. I can't wait to see you soon.
Right.
Here's another banger.
Saturday night, and I'm home alone again. I'm looking at my phone, wondering about this man. I know he's out there cheating, doing me all kind of wrong. I'm thinking to myself, how long's this foolishness been going on? She can't love you like I love you, baby, you Messed around and lost a good